This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
Fatmata, who mentioned that she hasn't had a period in 6 months, says, what is your cost of IVF? And Amy Elizabeth says, hey, Prof, wondering what testing you would recommend after having 2 consecutive miscarriages.
Two totally separate issues. Well, first of all, if you're going to be looked after by a specialist in infertility, well-trained people will look for the cause of your lack of periods and attempt to cure that rather than take you to IVF. You may most likely not need IVF. To get pregnant, you need to make an egg. And if you're not making an egg, you may end up then not having periods. So there are simple medications that may actually give you a chance to ovulate and get pregnant on your own. My worry is that you go to a specialist who says, oh, you've got this problem, IVF's your answer. It is not. It may not be the answer. Exhaust everything first. And if somebody is saying that to you, I'd find a better specialist. In relation to miscarriage, 2 miscarriages, we're now calling recurrent miscarriage. The most likely cause of your recurrent miscarriages is bad luck, in that something in the order of 60% of miscarriages are due to nature making a mistake with the chromosome makeup of your embryo. It's 60% of all miscarriages are caused by that, and therefore it can be a recurring random event. Not anything wrong with your chromosomes or your husband's chromosomes, it's just bad luck. However, on the chromosome front, I would be doing genetic testing on both of you and your partner to check that you are not carrying some aberration of your chromosomes that's not affecting you, but affecting the embryo that's created. As it happens in about 1 in 150 cases of women who have recurrent miscarriage. And we get around that by doing IVF, checking the embryo chromosome makeup and putting that one back, and that solves the problem. The other reasons for miscarriage, mostly we don't know. However, there is a couple of things that we go looking for, and that involves a blood test, which would be looking for immune problems. So there are something called autoimmune diseases. Lupus is an example where your body, because of the immune responses being abnormal, reject the pregnancy. Some people believe in natural killer cells, measuring them, and they can be suppressed using steroids. I certainly do that from time to time, but it's certainly one of the things I would be checking. Not every doctor or every clinic has the capacity to measure those natural killer cells. The other blood thing we look for is an increased tendency towards blood clotting. If you have that increased tendency, which can be tested with a variety of compounds in the blood, if that is the case, we can give you blood thinners when you get pregnant to improve the situation. But after 2 miscarriages, when we do all of those tests, we only find immune or blood clotting problems in less than 5%. So there's still a big gap between 60% caused by random genetic events and the 3 or 4% we can find other reasons for. So there's still a big gap that we don't understand. There is one other investigation, which is to check the uterus itself. So that's looking inside the uterus with a telescope under a very light general anesthetic, checking the shape of the uterus, that there's no scarring inside the uterus, no fibroids pushing into the cavity that will make miscarriage more likely. We also take a sample of the lining of the womb and send that off to the pathology laboratory to look at 3 things, actually. One is we can check the stage of the cycle and make sure that the lining is actually at the right stage for your particular menstrual cycle. Generally, I like to do it in the second half of the cycle when would be the time that an embryo was about to implant. And some women, those changes that the pathologist can see are out of sync with the day of ovulation, and giving hormone supplements can overcome that. That's very rare. The other thing they look for is signs of inflammation. So an inflamed lining, endometritis it's called, occurs in about 1 in 100 patients and may be a contributing factor to miscarriage. And the third thing that the pathologist can look at is actually the immune cells in the lining of the womb. Again, that's a very specialised investigation and only by a couple of laboratories, certainly in Sydney. That's the complete rundown of what I would be doing. If you wanted me to go through all those with you, I'm more than happy to do a consult and organise most of those tests for you.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.